I'm filming. It's on camera now.
I know. Did it scare you?
Yeah. Hey, good looking. Welcome back to another episode of Build Your Own Palette, where this month's theme is kind of a year in review or your reflection palette. So stay tuned for my 2022 reflection palette. As always, I collaborate every month with Kara from Beauty in the Frizz and Kelly from Keep Beauty Real, and now we have Lock Maiden that also likes to join in on the fun. So we're just waiting on you. Let me know in the comments down below what shadows you think sum up the 2022 year for you. And let's get started. I do want to put together a look, and as I go through the look, I will kind of go through each shade and the story behind it. So it's a little bit like, you know, fun. Okay, starting out with Beaches and Cream. I chose Beaches and Cream. This is going to go all over my crease, by the way. I chose Beaches and Cream because I really have a strong familiarity with water, and even though we don't live next to an ocean or a beach, I do like to, you know, visit the lakes, you know, man-made beaches, if you will. So I chose Beaches and Cream from Makeup Geek for that reason. I also chose a lot of Makeup Geek shadows this year because Makeup Geek closed, and that's a super huge like turning point for the beauty community, as well as just something that's kind of like been on my mind a lot as well. So a lot of these shades are going to be from Makeup Geek. I do have a few Sydney Grace shadows, and I've also got some Divina as well. I did have to like slightly cheat, and I used a shade from a palette, but it is also available as a single. And I thought I had it as a single, and instead of looking for that single, I just recalled which palette it was in. And I don't even know if I actually have it as a single or not, but you'll see soon. All right, the next shade in my selection was Recruit, and it's by Sydney Grace. And this just really is reminiscent of this year. The green, the lush green that, you know, we had as far as like the outdoors and being out and about in the outdoors. So I chose kind of a grungy green with sort of an golden undertone, if you will. It's got a little bit of an, you know, golden undertone to it. Third shade is Makeup Geek's Insomnia, and I really am struggling hardcore not to just whack this all over my lid today, because I really strongly feel like it's one of those days where I just want to use Insomnia all over the lid. But anyways, this shade right here, Insomnia, is from Makeup Geek. It's from, you know, Manny MUA's collaboration, and it kind of reminds me of the influencer collaborations that really started a lot of the, you know, snowball effect of having influencers and collaborating with bigger brands and, you know, working symbiotically together to, you know, sell a lot of different palettes. Manny's collab with Makeup Geek is truly iconic. It's one of the more first ones. I mean, obviously it wasn't the first one ever, but it's one of the first ones. And if you were fortunate enough to actually get the palette, you have the single, you know, Insomnia by Makeup Geek, or if you were one of the fortunate ones that happened to pick it up as a single, they had some left over, so that one also. So let's start in with the second row, first shade, and that is Vanguard. It's by Sydney Grace. It's a very grungy, olive toned green that does show up a little bit more gray green on my eyes, on my cooler skin tone, but it actually looks almost warm toned. This is very reminiscent of the lake this summer. Lakes here in Kansas look really mucky and dirty, and this really, like, this is how they look. The rivers, they tend to have like a lot of clay soil in them, dirt, and so this is kind of how the water looks a lot of times in the lakes. Not like maybe this super murky dirty, but, you know, definitely what it looks like. This year I learned how to water ski, and I cannot tell you the feelings associated with what it feels like to, in your adult career, learn how to do something that is what most people learn as a kid. I would not describe myself as athletic at all. I didn't play sports in high school. I was like more on the academic side, and I only can tell you I learned with true grit how to water ski. And it was because my son showed interest in water skiing that I was not ready to give up or fail or anything to that standard. So I think I'm gonna have to go with Asteria. When I was, water skiing, so like I'm gonna put a little video. It's not pretty, but I can get up on skis nonetheless. I remember seeing so much of the wake off of the boat, and it's just glittering in the sunlight when you're skiing, and there's so much of it, and it's coming at you so fast. And I felt like Davina's Asteria really like describes that feeling of what you see when you get up on skis and you finally get up. Like, I spent probably 2 years trying to get up and just getting like stuffed constantly and falling down. And when you finally actually make it up, you like don't even know what to do, right? You're just like, and everything's going so fast. And so this is that shadow that reminds me of that. So yeah, I'm gonna put this all over the lid, by the way. But the next shade in the palette that I have here for the 2022 Reflections palette is Latte by Makeup Geek. This year I started drinking my shake in my coffee because I kind of am learning that you shouldn't drink coffee before you eat. It's actually not really very good for your hormone balance. And so I started actually like putting, like, it's a shake, and I would put it in my coffee in the mornings, and so it kind of looks like latte, And again, Makeup Geek, I'm still thinking a lot about Makeup Geek. Marlena put out that video recently, kind of what happened. And, she went into more detail about what happened and explains a little bit more. But also, in a way, I feel like I was left with a lot more questions after the fact. Like, I think we can all of us Makeup Geek fans can agree that we've been waiting for her to put out this video, but we didn't realize that this video would lead us down this rabbit hole of wanting to know even more. Like, what's the next endeavor for Marlena? Why didn't she sell Makeup Geek? Why did she choose to close as opposed to sell it off? And she also leaves that open a little bit in her video as well. And so it's like, is she going to sell Makeup Geek? Or will she choose to keep it, closed doors type of thing? So I have a lot of like Makeup Geek's been on my mind lately, as far as like a brand goes, and just thinking about, Marlena and her journey this year, and, her health journey. Which also, I had a little bit of a health journey this year as well. I think that, well, let's move on, because the shadow will tell the story. So the next shadow, in the bottom left hand, let's see, it'd be my right, your left, yeah, is Snake Eyes, and it's by ColourPop. I'm actually using Snake Eyes from That's So Taupe, but it is available in a single. And I chose this shadow because my husband and I were out on a walk one day, and it was like recently, and it was right before it started getting cold here in the Midwest. We went out on a walk, and my husband stepped right over a Massagewa rattlesnake. And we don't know if it like struck at his foot, or like even struck him, or if he stepped on it and like flung it, or what exactly happened, because it was kind of at the corner of both of our eyes that this happened. But on our walk, we saw a rattlesnake, and I just kept remember looking at the snake afterwards. It was coiled up, it was like really mad, you know, very aggressive looking, very like in a state of striking. And I was looking at this snake. I actually captured a picture of the snake and looking at its eyes and trying to determine whether or not it was a venomous snake, because it was right next to a park. So, you know, we were concerned about, you know, children's safety at that point as well. So, but yeah, he seemingly stepped on a venomous snake, and it was a baby rattlesnake. And if you know anything about baby rattlesnakes, they're actually more dangerous than the adult snakes, because they can't really control the flow of venom. So sometimes if they strike and they bite, you can actually just get like a huge flood of venom, or you might get a dry bite. I also learned about that you know, that snakes can bite and sometimes it's dry. Didn't know that before. So yeah, and I remember looking at its eyes and thinking, like, I've never seen a snake with this type of eyes before. I think it's a rattlesnake. They're very common in this area for us. But I mean, it was definitely a very memorable moment in our lives. So I decided to put Snake Eyes from ColourPop. The next shade, second to last, is Bitten. I mean, for no other reason than, you know, the snake and its potential to bite us on our walk. Bitten by Makeup Geek made its way into my BYOP palette this round. So it's a really, really pretty like brown plum shade. I thought it went really well with this kind of grungy, murky palette, and in an attempt to just really see this year for what it was for me, I chose this shade. Lastly, and it's probably one of the most influential shades of ever, and I do have a video up here I'll link for you guys, the Blackest Black, and arguably one of the blackest black shadows to ever grace the beauty community has been Makeup Geek's Corrupt. When Marlena designed this shadow, she wanted it even blacker than MAC's Carbon. I think it's Carbon, yeah, MAC Carbon. So she brought that up to her lab, and she was like, I want the blackest black on the market. I believe that's what she did. And that's when Corrupt was not discovered, but born. And so this is also the color that my boot that I had to wear for 6 weeks looked. It's the same color, you know, it's like a very black boot. This year, if you guys don't know, I broke my foot, and if you don't know about breaking a bone, which I found many people don't know a lot about broken bones, is that it takes 4 to 6 weeks at minimum to heal that bone. And that's without any surgery or anything. That's if the bone heals on its own, no complications whatsoever. And so when I broke my foot, I was literally on crutches for 6 weeks, and I was in a boot. I was able to be weight bearing after 4 to 5 weeks, and then after 6 weeks I was able to start walking in my boot. That changes your life a lot. Things that used to be so easy are now so difficult to do. I think I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to dip into Bitten, and I'm going to go ahead and run it on the lower lash line. But to continue on my story, the amount of changes that get made when you have to learn the differences that go on, and you know, like, your whole life changes. You can't just walk over and pick up something off of the floor that you dropped. Like, it's a big to-do, and you're sitting for long periods of time where you're not used to. And the amount of mental health, you know, the toll that it takes on your mental health is a really, really, I don't think it's something that people talk about near enough. You have like some sort of like autoimmune disease, or you break a bone, or you're ill for any amount of time, that definitely takes its toll mentally on you. If a loved one or a family member, you know, gets sick, that also can take a huge toll on things. And this black is that reminder of that toll that it can take on you mentally. in one instant, you can go from being able to walk to not being able to walk. I can no longer water ski for the rest of the summer. And I had just learned how to water ski. Like, I was wanting to do more. I was, you know, like, I wanted to go out. I wanted the boys to start being able to water ski more. And so I was really just like so excited to go along further, you know, and be able to do more and water ski and just like, you know, take it and push it to the limits, right? And all of that was halted in just one instant. Basically one wrong step into what ended up happening was I stepped in a pothole that my dog had dug that wasn't very deep, but the way that my foot slipped in it, it made it so that I couldn't move my foot and adjust for me like stumbling over. And so my foot, it broke in a spot that it had already been broke. And it was definitely just, it was a reminder of gratitude for all of the times that I did not, you know, I took just being able to walk across my living room floor for granted. So yeah, I think that this year, this palette is so indicative of this year. There's so much beauty in this palette, yet there is, if at first look at it, it's very dark and it's very grungy. But if you look at it with an attitude of gratitude, you can see the sparkle, you can see the changes, like this duochrome. Like in the pan, it's like, unless you know what you're looking for, this doesn't look like a duochrome to you. It might just look like a silvery blue upon first, you know, look. But there's so much more hidden in there. And yeah, that's my BYOP. It's a little bit deeper than I thought it was going to be. I also took out a special shade. JDGlow's Unexpected, because basically this year took some unexpected turns within our family. And I think that's just a reminder to everybody that there's always going to be unexpected obstacles and journeys along the way. So hope you guys are enjoying this. I hope you guys will go out and check out Lock Maiden, Kara's, and Kelly's video to see what shadows they use for their 2022 reflection palette and what stories they might have to share with you. I know I'm excited. I can't wait to go see. So also leave a comment down below if any of these shades would have made it into your palette for your 2022 year. Thanks so much for watching, guys. I can't wait to see you in my next video. Bye.